I gotta come in and see my latest.
Now we're working.
The slab is one of the main slabs. And the garage is down 6 inches lower in the house, but now the garage is not heated. It's still monolithic slab. Do I have to put the insulation around the outside? And I told him you might have to run like temperature your perimeter. Can you do like just around the thickest edge?
So yeah, I know. Intel.
Yeah, it was like a day.
You can do it.
So I ordered, so I can just try to do that. So I don't want to give them
Okay, guys, past 6:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order, if possible. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
You have a second? Yep. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, they're approved. I guess I'm sure. I don't have any remarks, so we'll turn it over to the director. Our assistant director, our temporary director, our filling director. What we got for a director today?
Filling in for Jess.
Okay.
Filling in for Trish is Jessica. So you guys all received the street development plan from Trish, right?
Excuse me for a second.
Yeah.
We have some guests, if they would introduce themselves and say what project.
I'm here for Eric about putting an addition on.
Okay.
What was your name?
And your name?
My name is Terrence.
Okay. And we all know our other member is here. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. That's hard to interrupt you, Rich. Sorry.
So strategic development plan, if you guys want to provide comments and feedback now, however you guys want to do the best, if you guys have had a chance to read through it, we can take it verbally, we can take it through email, we can take it however you would like to provide feedback and comments on it. Email?
Yeah, I read it, I posted it, so it's a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it requires further digestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys can send it to myself,
Okay.
and we'll forward it to the consultants too. And she's also keeping track of like what comments are made and what is actually made to the plan, draft plan, based on the comments that are provided. So you'll get to see like the comments they make on how they're incorporated or what they make differently.
You'd like to see those by when?
Yeah.
So the public comment period started on, Friday, October 11th, and ends on November 26th. But the sooner, the better.
Yes.
Yes.
I do have a general question. Some statistics that they quoted, there just seem a little bit off to me, but where to get their information
The
from?
sources,
Yes.
yeah.
Do they quote those in the back somewhere?
Yeah, I think there is a sources list, but if not, I can.
Because a lot of it was like the energy stuff, where's that data coming from? I just didn't see it. And it just seemed, I mean, they came
Yeah,
up
I know
numbers
that
of
a lot of
potential for
data.
this, potential for that,
There's like
that kind of stuff coming.
national, federal
Some
sites.
federal,
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think that's on the strategic development plan. Everybody wants to email digest
I
it.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have the bylaws that we included in this packet for you guys. I believe we vote on that next month.
I
It's
think
what we were gathering from looking through things.
I think we can look them over and see if we want to modify them.
Yeah.
There's been some comments about that people want to look at those. I think Trish had some suggestions of things she might want to change. I think that'd be good if we heard from her.
Yeah.
Email us what things we need to change in the
Perfect.
bylaws, and we can look at that and
Perfect.
digest it a
So
little bit.
we'll get that out probably around the same time that we send the schedule out, like finalized schedule to you guys.
Right.
I passed out the draft schedule now.
Okay, yeah.
And then when we send you the finalized schedule, we'll also send out our thoughts and
Okay.
suggestions on the bylaws.
That would be good for us, because I know she had some things she would like to change.
Sure.
I assume any vote on that would be, do we vote on that, or is that like,
Yeah.
that kind of legislator?
Yes, well, I think it goes through here and then till.
I wasn't sure where it went.
From what we were telling, I think it goes through here.
And that would be at the first of the year, or would it be in December?
So I think from what we were looking at, it goes through here next month and then it goes to Ledge,
Okay,
in December.
okay, so we need to get that out before next meeting, so we can look at it and see if we have any
Yes.
questions on it.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's why we included the bylaws,
Okay.
the current bylaws in this packet so that you guys have them to review. And then in the next couple days, weeks, we'll send what our thoughts are from past year of what's happened. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay. And then I did up the schedule for 2025. You guys look through it. If you guys see any issues, I'm a visual person, so I guess you guys got a visual page that I do. So if you guys see anything issues or maybe I put in an incorrect date, just let me know.
But there's no anomalies, it's not the third
Yeah.
Wednesday type of morning or something.
No, all the meeting dates felt good. And then, the deadline is 2 weeks after.
Okay.
So,
Jessica, do you have any more of those? I didn't get one.
the schedule,
Yeah.
I might print it off enough.
It's important for our meetings at home. Well, I printed these off.
Yeah, I left some on the table, they're a whole stack then. But I will email it. I have one left, actually, right here. Is it just one person that's missing them? Hello. Thank you. Are you missing it as well? Okay. I'll email it to everybody too.
They got installed.
Oh, yeah, stop somewhere.
Oh, wow.
It's my visual.
That's cool.
I like that.
I think that's it.
Okay, we have one of the things on your agenda, you have a
Yes.
charging station.
Oh, yes, the charging station. There's just some interesting facts that I thought we'd share.
So we've had a lot of, a number of charging stations installed, especially throughout the city. We had Denny's installing charging stations last month, and we had one in a return letter for the Hampton in Cortland. And we had noticed that there were wild discrepancies in how much each charging station may cost. And so upon some further research, we found that there are 3 main tiers of charging stations that commercial outlets are installing. They're generally tier 1, 2, and 3. And those are just general ranges of how fast they charge. So the Denny's chargers that they put in last month were very expensive because they're supposed to primarily charge the car most of the way within an hour or so. Whereas what we'll see in the Hampton in Portland this month are tier 2 chargers that are significantly slower and should fully charge your car within about 6 to 8 hours, which makes sense for their use, considering they're expecting people to be parking, leaving it overnight and getting it in the morning. There is the lowest tier of charger, which from what I understand are really only used in homes because they are the slowest trickle charge possible. So it's just something good for us to know when we're looking at these kinds of projects.
So are those Tesla charging stations or are they?
The ones being put in are not Tesla charging stations. I believe the Tesla superchargers are equivalent to the highest tier of charger though.
Those about electric cars, do you know about?
You know, well, that's a question then. Somebody said the Teslas are being made universal, so.
Tesla owns it. They own the
I know,
recycling.
somebody said they were going to do that, wasn't sure.
No, I can tell you Chevrolet, I have a Bolt, and they were making an agreement with Tesla.
But they have to make separate, okay, I just heard that. I wasn't
At least with Chevrolet, and that's supposed to happen by.
It's like the
Yeah, the
Apple
end of
Plus.
the year.
Gotcha, okay. All right, then if you have any other questions, we'll move on to the reviews.
Perfect, sounds good. Bear with me. So the first thing, we'll skip to the second one on the agenda so that our guest can not have to go through everything, but City of Cortland, E.T. Cook LLC and 128 Holdings LLC for a site plan review and area difference. Applicant is seeking to renovate the kitchen located in the rear of the structure. The work will include demolition of 2 existing extensions, replacing it to create 1 single larger extension, ultimately adding 446 square feet to the total floor space of the kitchen. The property is located in central business zoning district within 500 feet of New York State Route 13. Therefore, that is why it's coming to us. The first part, the City of Cortland Code, actions requiring site plan review. When a primary building or structure is to be altered in such a way the footprint or fascia is altered, the purpose. The proposed renovations would significantly alter the footprint of the structure, therefore the applicant has requested a site plan review. Code business bulk requirements indicates that the minimum building height for a non-residential structure is to be 22 feet. The structure is less than 22 feet, therefore the applicant has applied for an area variance. This code also indicates that the maximum building footprint for a commercial retail lot is 5,000 square feet. The current structure already exceeds 5,000 square feet, therefore the applicant has applied for an area variance. Next part of the code, for a buffer strip requires a 10 feet width be provided. The west boundary of the parcel abuts to a residential zone property. The proposed work will not allow for the buffer strip, therefore the applicant has applied for an area variance. The staff recommends approval of this application for site plan review and area variance only under the following conditions: that the city balance the benefit of granting the requested area variance to the applicant against the health and safety and welfare of the community. That's it.
I'll look for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
And second. Any comments? Oh, I'm sorry, go to that first. No, any comments, I guess we have any motion. And second, any questions or comments on it? Nothing?
Is there a through traffic in that area in any way?
No, especially in between 2 existing additions.
That go right out where no traffic could go?
Yeah, there's actually a air conditioning unit, so it's not that bad as it is.
And you've got another 10 or 15 feet to the property. I mean, there's a fence along the back there, isn't there, between that and the property next door, the
Yeah.
residential property? And the residential property next door is a parking lot, as I recall. So, okay. Anything else from anybody? All in favor of staff's recommendation, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
All right. Thanks.
All set?
Earlier to be.
You guys don't need me for anything else.
No, no. That's one of the big ones.
Think I'm a problem? Pile it on, do everything else there.
Go back to the first one. Tom Preble, Greg Miller, on behalf of Miller Eaton Enterprises, for a subdivision. Applicant is seeking to subdivide the tax parcel into 2 parcels. The parcel is located on Palmer Road in a residential zoning district that is within 500 feet of the county road, Song Lake Road. Therefore, that is why it's coming to us. The proposed subdivision will result in 2 non-conforming parcels. Therefore, the applicant has applied for an area variance for a minimum lot size and was granted approval by the zoning board of appeals on September 5th. An existing well currently serves both residential structures. That is why it is recommended that the applicant make a second well in order to provide an independent water source for each of the 2 parcels proposed. A letter was included with the application from a licensed engineer testifying that existing septic systems are independent, recently installed, and adequate for both proposed parcels. The staff recommends approval of this applicant for a subdivision only under the following conditions. That the applicant install a second well in order to provide an independent water source for each of the 2 proposed parcels. That's it.
Entertain a motion?
Amy and Gord?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you're both on the other boards? Okay.
Well, I was not representing anything. Well, you're in.
But anyhow, I entertain a motion from someone
I'll make
else.
the motion.
Take a motion.
Second.
Okay. Questions?
I'm surprised they both small lots, they each have their own independent septic.
But they just added it, didn't they?
No, I think if you look at the drawing, I think they had one that must have failed. They put another one back in for one of them. From the looks of it.
Didn't they did it both?
No, one says it's a replacement. They both have their own already, but they replaced one. One was failed.
So do you think it's wise that we include that the health department approve these to make sure there's separation distance from
Well,
new?
I was gonna raise that same thing, because I think where they're putting that property line is on the driveway. Separation distance is at least 10 or 20 feet from a septic system to a property line.
So the director of environmental health, Cortland County Department, there's a letter in here from him.
Anyway, yeah, what's it say?
I have inspected the installation of the septic system and the above references. The contractor was Eaton Dirt Excavation. I found all components to be installed and substantial. Compliance with my plans dated 12/1/23 and approved by my office on 12/11/23 with no deficiencies.
But that's not from the health department. That's from the engineer who inspected the system when it went in. But at the time, there was not a subdivision. The letters from Buck. Buck inspected the system that he designed and said it went in per his design. So now they're subdividing the property. And I don't know if he knew it was going to be subdivided at the time that he inspected it.
Just the
But I think
installation.
by the property line they're putting in, it will no longer meet separation distances. It's impossible. I don't know what that means. As long as nothing fails, it's probably not a big deal. The problem would be if somebody sells the property, which I'm assuming that's why it's being subdivided, and if the system ever failed and had to replace it, I don't know, they may have room to do it, not where it is, that's for sure. So, I don't know. It's just right now, if they put that, if you look at the drawings, that's the subdivision one. You go to the septic drawing, that's new, well, that new dry well is right smack on the property line, it looks like to me.
I'm having a hard time interpreting what's the original boundary and what's the proposed subdivision.
Yeah, it looked like it was a double lot, and now it's all one big lot now.
Well, see, where's the grand line, both houses are gonna be on the same subdivision, so that one right there.
That's a subdivision now. Yeah, there's one big parcel all the way around. The dotted line is not a property line.
No.
So the current property is here.
Correct.
Okay. The subdivided is this solid line right here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's correct. Okay.
Right. So you see where it cuts across going down in that picture?
Mhm.
If you look at the septic drawing, that line looks like it runs right through where they're showing that drywall. So I don't see how it can possibly meet separation distances by health department regulations if they put it there. Now, I think the health department may not worry about it as much here because they had a failed system and they wanted something to work and had it replaced. I don't know. But I'm surprised they permitted a drywall that close to the lake personally. But that's,
It's all gravel up there.
I guess, yeah, I know it's gonna right in the lake, so. I don't know in that lake, so.
So do we wanna add a recommendation about the septic?
I would like to have the health department relook at that and see if they concur that it's okay where the property lines are going. That's all I would like to do, make an amendment that, not just the well, but the health department relook at the, did they look at this already, the subdivision?
I am not, I can't.
You don't know? But I would like to have some comment from the health department saying they are okay with where the property lines going in relationship to separation distances. But I've had problems with small properties 20 or 30 years after they did a subdivision. And then the person couldn't possibly put in a failed system, so they couldn't use a lot.
I don't think.
Yeah, they had a house.
Separation from the well that was being required to be put in for each
They
property.
can probably
From
make
the
that.
septic is 100 feet, right?
Well, it's 150 feet from the drywall.
So do we wanna recommend that the board receive comments from the health department?
Well, I don't think the board needs it. I think more that goes back to the local.
Right, like the local board.
Right, the local board receive the comments and see what they want to go along
Yes,
with.
not this.
No, not this board. I mean,
Receive
yeah, because I'm just
comments
nervous
from
about it. I mean,
Cortland County Health
yeah,
Department.
a lot of times around,
Approval, I would say, approval.
yeah, at least make comment whether they would approve it or whether they accept it or not, the way the subdivision map is drawn.
Receive acceptance from.
Well, I think the local board can then make their determination based on what the health department says too, I think.
And what about access to the existing buildings, if they subdivide it? It will have to be on some of the other lot.
Well, I think they have room down the road. They can get both of them.
That
the way it's
former
subdivided.
road does a little hook there and they can access in.
Yeah, but the driveway is, the both access points on the driveway are both in the one parcel.
Yeah, the one house would have to do. it.
Right. But they could, if they have room to put one if they want to. If they wanted to come off the road, they could off the other property, from the looks of it.
From Song Lake Road, you could get into the front house and then from Palmer Road into the back house with the U-shaped driveway there.
Could you just go back to that one and again, point out where that it's not clear, it's just not clear to me, so I'm just looking to see where that subdivision line comes through.
Right there.
Okay. Very weird line, and I worry about the septic system situation as well. I think it
Well,
really
I just didn't like the way we put the line right through it like
It
that.
doesn't make sense to me either. I have a place on the lake and, yeah.
So it is recommended that the local board receive comments from Cortland County Health Department in review of the subdivision and septic
And
system
location of septic system.
and location of.
Chuck, I have a question, just, what's a dotted line on there?
It's probably an old parcel when it's subdivided and when they combined it into one big lot at one
I think
time.
it's also like just a measurement,
Could be.
like how far, like
Yeah.
it's just them giving like a.
Center line.
Well, there is an iron pipe at each end of it.
Right,
so
I'm
that's
guessing it was at one time, it was probably really narrow lots. And then somebody bought two lots together and made one big one out of it. And now it's being subdivided again. That's probably my guess.
That's exactly how it happened. It was
Is
a
it a-
consolidated parcel.
That's what it looks like anyhow.
So now they're unconsolidating.
Well, could have been done long before they did the water.
Different configuration. Right.
That's usually how they show those with the dotted line from the original subdivision map or something.
You guys have to vote.
We have to vote on the amendment. If people okay with that amendment as it's worded?
Did you want it?
All in favor, saying
It's just to present back to the local board.
local board,
Yeah.
right? In favor of that?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, so all in favor of staff recommendations as amended? Aye. Any opposed? We're done.
We're done.
Yeah. What else we gotta do? Hey,
Next meeting is November 20th. The sooner you can get the comments, the
like
better.
a short meeting than we have.
That's about it.
I thought it was gonna be the longest one with review of the elderly
Well,
Cortland.
I didn't have to go through it. We could spend the next 3 hours or 4 hours on that.
I know. That's what I was
It's gonna take you a long time to go through. So we try and